Okay, continuing. So you might wonder why I kept this guy. It's because this was the original uh, outhouse when they were building the cabin. So I thought it was kind of has historical significance. A funny story was uh, the grown children who came out here to see it after their father passed away, who built the cabin. They were outside and they had to go to the bathroom, so they literally ran into the outhouse and went to the bathroom. They must have spent many times out here. There isn't a door on it for a very specific reason, and the reason I'm told is because you don't need one. You have this view of the forest, and you can listen to the water running by. So they never saw a need to actually put a door on it. Anyhow, it's funny, fun story. Moving towards the back, so this back area has just went nuts with summer. It's a little grown up. I will clean this up for you for sure. Uh, Knock this stuff down and uh, get this back area cleaned up. This is actually a courtyard area that uh, we were we had over here. Essentially a table, a couple chairs. You could sit out here when the weather was nice uh, and have a coffee. It's your propane tank. Now your propane tank is currently about 60%. I will tell you that the propane, they never fill it above 80. I think the highest I've seen it filled is 75% to account for any expansion. It doesn't matter what time of the year. It is I believe, a 300 gallon, might be 250, and it's owned, so you don't have to lease it. And I will tell you that filling it and regular use, full-time live-in, cooking, and using the dryer, because that's the two things that use the propane, uh, you only have to refill it maybe once every other year. I think one year I actually went 3 years without filling it, but I typically fill it every other year just to have it full. So you'll notice up here, I'll show you out the window when we're up in the master bedroom, but you'll notice that there's heating cables across the roof up there. And what that is the back side of this, only this roof here, this area seems to have difficulty with ice damming during the winter times. And so when before I had put the heating cables in a few years ago, the ice would really accumulate right along the gutter, and it put a lot of pressure on the gutter. So what I ended up doing is I ended up pulling out the old gutter. I reinstalled a new one and a new downspout system. And then this wall was basically ugly foam insulation. So we just put a little faux fence. I put a little faux fence here with the light. That light is just inside the door. But I will tell you that this is it's important to run in the wintertime, because as as the snow, which can get up to 2 or 3 feet, runs off and refreezes, it builds up a pretty thick ice dam on here. Now over here you'll see something similar. However, you'll notice I do not have ice stops on this one, and or snow stops on it like I do in the other side. And that's mostly because I'm not real worried about this area out here. I usually let the snow accumulate. When it decides it wants to drop off, then it just drops off back here. I really have a problem, with it getting in anybody's way. Even if the person needs to heat the oil, they'll come from the backside around the corner. They'll back up into the driveway, bring their hose along the back of the cabin, and they'll fill right here. So a nice little space again. I just coming here. Things grow so fast. So this is literally grown in probably 10 days. So I will come out here and knock this stuff down. You'll find that in the summertime. Things go crazy up here. This is a composting bin over here. And behind it is actually a water tank. And there isn't any water in it. But here was my thinking. My thinking was I was going to pull water. I was going to put a gutter along the back side of this slant roof here. And then I was going to bring the water down, and I was going to use the runoff to fill the bucket right here in the corner. And then I was going to have a line that came off of it and slid right down here into the greenhouse so that I could have a very small pump motor water all of the plants inside. But as I showed you in one of the other videos, I actually ended up running a hose line because I just felt like it was more convenient. But my thought was that eventually I would go to this irrigation system, this catch system, because I just felt like it was a better way to do the watering. I will tell you the other thing is if I don't get water, and I'm watering a lot, and I end up using this water up, then I was going to have a pump line that actually went down to the creek and put water through filter into this guy to keep it up at a constant level. So a combination of pulling a little bit of water from the creek, catchment system from the gutter line to keep this 55-gallon drum full. So it's capped, it's clean inside. There's no chemicals or anything inside of it. You'll also see a couple more of the fence, what I'm calling like the fence burls. I think that's what they're called. Here on the back side. These things are all over the place. I don't know who collected them, but every time I find one, I kind of drag it out of the woods. And then this is your 1,000-gallon tank. This right here, you'll see this little mound of rocks. About 10 years ago, we lost a lab down at the river. And when we were down there one day, we had part of a road fall away and we had a rollover accident and we lost a lab. So he's been buried there for the last 10 years. We put little stone stacks there, just in case you're wondering what's there. Also, right here, you'll see a line coming out. So this line feeds back over to here. So this gutter system, it's actually two gutters, a gutter here and gutter here, will come down and it will feed right down into the ground. This one and also this one, the black one goes here and then the white one dumps out way the heck down there. So you've got water draining away from the cabin every place in here. Something I didn't point out when I was over here is this is where the lines plug in for the heating tape, GFCI system, and I'll show you inside how this works. But these two lines, there's two lengths there. Now, I have had in the past, I've had some issues with them. Typically, just before winter, I'll do a check on them and I'll replace a line if I need to or repair a line because the ice and the snow just really play havoc with these heating tapes. So sometimes they'll fail. I have not checked them this year, and I may not get a chance to. Now the power for that outlet for the heating tape on top is right inside the door. So this is a special setup for this. When power is applied, the light's on, so it's very easy for you to be able to look at this and say, hey, I got power to the heat tapes. If the heat tapes are plugged in, doesn't necessarily mean you're getting power up to the heat tapes, because if the GFCI senses any kind of a short, it's going to trip out at the outlet. So this could be on, but yet you may not have power up there. They were both good last winter, but it seems like every year they go, something goes different with them. These guys are actually ultrasonic deterrents for rodents, mice. I have a couple of them. One here, I've got one back over on that side as well. We do not have problems with mice up here, oddly enough. I think in the 9 years I've been here, I've seen one mouse. And I actually saw one bat. We actually had a bat come into the cabin a couple of weeks ago. Never happened. We've never seen bats up here. It was kind of a fluke. I captured the bat, threw a sheet over it, and let it go, and it was fine. It took off, flew off, and was none the wiser. But they are out here, just so you know. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the greenhouse. So this greenhouse was something that Kim wanted. I needed it to be robust. You'll notice it's rough cut timber, true dimensions, true 2x4s. And all of this siding is stuff that I got from someone who was actually building a cabin out of logs, and this was all their leftover stuff. I'll show you where I have a bunch of this under the deck as well. You'll notice it has an apron. You can see the gray apron down there. Runs across the front down here. All right. This thing is set on skids. So, not that I would ever want to do it, but you technically, you can move this. It does sit on very heavy skids underneath. So you, in theory, could pull those off, hook your cables underneath, and you could drag this. You could just barely clear this direction, but you can drag it straight down and around the corner if you so desire. I put it up here because it was mobile. I didn't worry about how close it was. I could drag it further away if I needed to, but we like the convenience of it. In going into the greenhouse now, again, these are all reclaimed wood, or reclaimed windows, I'm sorry. These bistro lights in here come on at night. They're on a timer right up there. So they will automatically come on unless you have them off. And then also, this fan will come on. It's heat sensitive, but you have to turn it on. So if you look up there, you'll see the control. There's a thermostatic control, and it's in the off position right now. You can put it in the on position and turn it on all the time, or you can temperature adjust it. And that is activated by this switch right here. So the reason why I put the switch here for the fan was because sometimes if it gets warm at night, or warm during the day, the fan will, sometimes the fan will literally run, 12 hours. And I just didn't want it running all of the time, because what I would typically do is I would come in and I would open up all these windows here. You can open up this one. This one here, you can open up. You can open up this one. You can open up this one over here. So you can get real good airflow through here. But it was just something to keep the air moving around when we had stuff growing in here. And you'll notice along the bottom, we have all of these pots, and we have even more pots outside. For planting, we did one year we did everything in pots. We were moving towards having an outdoor garden. We did not. Okay, I'm going to cut here, and I'll pick up in just a second.